All right, what's going on, guys? It's Raul here. We're back. It's day 11 of Vlogmas, I believe. We're doing a little disc review / will it go in my bag. I have this 2023 US Disc Golf Champion Kyle Klein Horizon Vanguard Black and Gold Edition. These Horizon Vanguards only came out for the USDGC memorial stamp or whatever you call it. But yeah. We're gonna be testing this out today, kind of showing some different shots and then seeing, is it gonna fit in my bag? I think if it flies the way I want it to, then it will fit in my bag, because I tend to have a lot of overstable discs in my bag. If you know me, you know most of my discs are overstable. I carry a lot of Firebirds, FD3s, and then below that is pretty much a T-Bird 3 and a Leopard. So I don't really have a slot that pushes straight with like a slight slow fade. Most of my Firebirds, even if they push straight, will fade hard. I want this thing to be like a straight pusher and a slow glide fade, kind of like a Thunderbird, but I think this is going to be like a slightly straighter Thunderbird-esque flight. So let's give it a shot, see how it flies, and see if it's going to go in the bag. All right, first shot, Horizon Vanguard. This is the first shot I've ever thrown with it, so we'll see. I'm going to throw it on a slight hyzer and just see how it flies on that stock shot. So yeah, that's a nice out of the box flight. I really didn't throw that hard at all, maybe 60–70% power on a low line. It pretty much just pushed straight and had a slow fade the whole time. So we'll throw another shot like that with a little bit more power and maybe a little bit more height and see how it flies. And then, yeah, we'll get a few more shots with it. All right, so I'm gonna try this one on a similar line. I'm gonna throw it at that tree on the right, maybe just at the leaves on the inside area. And I'm gonna try to throw it a little bit harder and a little bit higher and see how it flies. Yeah. That's really nice. It really just went straight for a while and then faded out at the very end. I threw it hard. I pretty much threw it dead flat, maybe a little bit of hyzer, but yeah, it just went dead straight, faded out at the end, had its integrity. So that's a good disc. Let's see how it flies on a little bit of turn. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I wanted out of the hyzer to flat shot, just a straight push and a gentle fade for those shots that I want to go on hyzer but not really skip left. I think this will be a good disc for me right now, at least. Now I'm gonna try to throw it on a slight anhyzer line and see how long it holds over and see if it wants to fade back at the end. Wow. That surprised me, actually. So I ripped that on a pretty good angle, close to what I wanted to do. Just a slight anhyzer out of the hand, nice and nose down, not too high. And it pushed over to the right gently and faded out gently. I honestly thought that, based off the flat to hyzer line, would push straighter and take a while to fade out, but it actually faded out pretty quick. So it could be good for some tighter flex lines and still have the integrity to come back and still have that gentle fade at the end. All right, so we threw it on a little bit of anhyzer. It actually had a little bit more integrity than I thought, which is like the only thing I was worried about because it went so straight on the hyzer line. So throwing on a little bit of anhyzer, it pushed, but then faded out pretty quick, which I actually like, which means it won't really turn over that much, even if I throw it hard and flat or a little bit of anhyzer. So that's nice that it's gonna have that dependability in the end. But yeah, so now we're just gonna throw it on some sidearms and see how it flies. I'm just gonna throw it on a stock slight hyzer and see how straight it goes. See if it flips over really. All right, that was a bit more hyzer than I intended for that line, but it didn't want to flip up at all. It just stayed on hyzer and was fading out the whole time. So it's definitely stable and reliable on the sidearm. All right, I'm gonna do one more sidearm and try to just throw it a little flatter to see how it flies with a better release angle. All right, so that was a better angle. It was a little flatter, maybe a slight bit of hyzer, but it hyzered out right away. So it's definitely stable, holds the torque on a sidearm as well as the backhand. So yeah, it's a good all-around disc. All right guys, so final thoughts on the Vanguard. This thing I thought was gonna be more like a beat-in Thunderbird. It definitely pushes straight like a Thunderbird, but it has a lot more integrity than I thought when I threw the sidearm and the flex shot. I thought the flex shot was gonna pretty much hold over for most of the time and maybe finish a little bit at the end, but it held that line and then faded out relatively soon in the flight. So it's definitely gonna be going in the bag. I will say that. I definitely think I'm gonna be using it for like the 340 to 360-ish shots, just throwing it flat or a little bit of hyzer and getting it out there and really just landing it flat. For that shot, I'll throw either a big hyzer with like an overstable fast disc, which comes in with a lot of speed, or like a Firebird or something, and kind of try to throw that hard and flat, but then it comes in with more skip if I don't get the angle right. Whereas this, if I throw it hard and flat or a little bit of hyzer, it's just gonna land softer and get that straighter skip rather than going left. So yeah, that's the Discmania Vanguard. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.